Rumor has it these stars really aren't fans of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You'd be hard-pressed to name a more beloved star in Hollywood right now than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Yes, the charismatic actor has amassed a huge following thanks to his time in the wrestling business and film industry. But it's been rumored that some other famous faces have found reasons to dislike Johnson down the years. Johnson's fans can't get enough of him though, as proven by the numbers on social media. He has more than 200 million followers on Instagram alone, for instance. That's crazy. No other US male has more according to the Deadline website. So why do so many people love The Rock? Well, not only does Johnson have a very engaging personality, but he's seemingly an open book on social media and during interviews, too. A particularly endearing Instagram post saw the megastar interacting with his young daughter in March 2018. In the video and accompanying message, he championed International Women's Day. Johnson wrote, "Girl power. To every woman out there, round the world, all ages and races, I proudly stand by your side to always honor, protect and respect. Especially the loves of my life at home. Now if I can just get Jazzy to say that daddy is the most handsome, brilliant, sexiest man alive, then we all gonna be cool." That post has since earned in excess of 27 million views. Wow. As for Johnson's openness in interviews, that was on full display when he spoke to Rolling Stone in April 2018. Yes, the actor offered up some intriguing insights into his body of work, including his overall goals. "I'm gonna take care of you, the audience," Johnson told the magazine. "You pay your hard-earned money, I don't need to bring my dark **** to you. Maybe a little, but if it's in there, we're gonna overcome it, and we're gonna overcome it together. Never send an audience home unhappy." How many other Hollywood stars would say something like that? By putting the fans first, Johnson has brokered a trust that's seemingly unmatched in the entertainment industry. He reiterated that connection again in another Instagram post from March 2018, in which he spoke about the importance of test screenings. "Whenever we test my films, I always want the fans to feel empowered to help me make the movie better," Johnson wrote. "Because in the end, whether it's a Jumanji, a Rampage or Skyscraper, the most important thing is sending the people home happy." It's amazing how a few great notes from fans can spark such a bigger creative conversation. On top of all that, Johnson's work ethic is inspiring as well. He's always posting workout clips on his Instagram page, and his upcoming film slate is absolutely jam-packed. The man never stops. He has 3 projects in pre-production right now, including the highly anticipated comic book movie Black Adam. And if that wasn't enough, Johnson has 3 more films in the pipeline as well. The Rock's fans will no doubt be chomping at the bit to see those movies, and one of them summed up his work in a comment on the Bustle website. Her name is Amy, and she wrote, "He's beautifully unpretentious. He knows what he does well, and he sticks to it." Johnson's fans aren't the only ones who love him, either. There's a long list of Hollywood stars who also can't get enough of The Rock. According to the Screen Rant website, Hugh Jackman is one of those names. What a charismatic duo they'd make headlining a movie together. Jackman offered some insights into their bond during an interview with E! News back in July 2013. He said, "I know Dwayne and I rang him and said, 'Buddy, I saw you in The Tooth Fairy, and then I saw you in an action movie and you are massive. How do you do it?' Johnson said, "Okay, you want to put on 25 pounds of lean muscle. You need 6 months. You need to eat 6,000 calories, Jackman recalled. As he's telling me the whole diet, someone knocked on his trailer door, and I'll never forget this moment. He goes, "Hold on a second. I'm talking to Wolverine. You can tell them I said they can wait." How could anyone not warm to that? It's nice to know that Johnson won't just blow you off in the middle of a conversation. And Jackman isn't the only famous face to build a bond with the wrestling icon. Zac Efron is another star who seemingly loves the guy, having worked with him on the big screen adaptation of Baywatch. Efron's budding friendship with Johnson was on full display during a Twitter exchange in 2017, when the latter praised Efron's physique in the movie. That's quite a compliment coming from a dude like The Rock. Anyway, the former high school musical star responded with a kind-hearted message of his own. "Appreciate it, sensei," Efron wrote on the social media site. "Whenever I need guidance, I just ask myself one thing, WWTRD. What would The Rock do? And it's all good. Seems like decent advice, wouldn't you say?" It's hard to imagine how Johnson could rub anyone up the wrong way. one of the kings of action cinema, is on very good terms with Johnson as well. Yes, we're referring to Arnold Schwarzenegger, who earned a shout-out as Rampage was being filmed in June 2017. The Rock also shed some light on their relationship in an Instagram post at the time. "When I was a kid, Arnold was one of my heroes," Johnson wrote. "And when I first started in Hollywood, he was one of the biggest stars on the planet and was so supportive and welcoming to me, when he didn't have to be. First time we had dinner, he said, 'You can take the brass ring to places it's never been before.' 15 long hard-working years later, here I am," Johnson added. "Grateful. This one's for you, brother." He's close with another Hollywood star, too, although this celeb isn't quite as imposing as the Austrian oak. We're talking about Kevin Hart, who's been in 3 different movies with The Rock. Now if you've seen Johnson and Hart in those films, you'll already know that they bounce off each other brilliantly. They often carried that over during promotional tours as well, and the former wrestling star confirmed that their friendship was legit in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, in which he hailed their brotherly chemistry. As we mentioned earlier though, not everyone is a fan of Johnson. The Hollywood superstar might even be embroiled in a few personal feuds if rumors are anything to go by. Who could hate The Rock? Well, let's start by looking back at his time in the wrestling business. At his peak, The Rock was arguably the biggest star in the WWF, or the WWE as it's known today. And he was one of the few to break the barrier between the wrestling world and mainstream entertainment. Almost everyone recognized the catchphrase, "Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?" back then. But as Johnson's popularity continued to skyrocket, he switched his focus from wrestling to acting. WWE then needed to find someone to fill that huge void. In the end, John Cena stepped up to the challenge, eventually being the new face of the company. And that's when the issues seemed to start. During an interview with the Sun newspaper in 2008, Cena was asked about Johnson. He fired back, "Our fan base has so much admiration for him, he's got to respect that. He doesn't give anything back." Ouch. Then, some 12 months later, Cena spoke up again, this time to the Baltimore Sun. On that occasion, Cena looked to clear up his comments regarding Johnson's love of the wrestling industry. He stated, "What I actually said, and I'll stand true to it to this day, I don't even care, is that here's a guy who when he was with the WWE, pounded his chest that he really loved the WWE. And that wasn't the truth." Given the apparent ill feeling, many wrestling fans never would have dreamed that Cena and Johnson could actually work together in the ring. Yet that's exactly what happened, as the pair had 2 blockbuster WrestleMania matches in 2012 and 2013. Since then, W Magazine reported that the rumored feud between them has ended. So is there anyone else in the wrestling business who doesn't like Johnson? Well, according to Screen Rant, Kevin Nash isn't too fond of him. To give you some background, Nash made his name in the WWF as Diesel, before leaving for its rival WCW. While there, he formed one of the industry's most iconic stables. We're referring to the New World Order, better known as the NWO. Those shirts were everywhere in the late 1990s. Anyway, Nash and his fellow teammates returned to the WWF in 2002, which led to a big moment. Johnson, in full The Rock mode, cut a promo with Nash that March. Then it happened. The Rock threw in an improvised comment, dubbing Nash Big Daddy B**********. The What Culture website reported that he was angry about Johnson's insult. And all these years later, Screen Rant noted that the man formerly known as Diesel hasn't been kind when asked about The Rock in the years since. We can probably rule out a match. Speaking of wrestling matches we'll likely never see, that brings us on to Shawn Michaels' relationship with Johnson. What reported issues are there between the Heartbreak Kid and The Rock? Well, while the latter was coming up in the WWF, he scored a disqualification victory over one of the biggest stars of that time, Bret Hart. But according to Hart's autobiography, he had to fight for that decision. The hitman claimed that Michaels hated Johnson back then. On top of that, it's long been suggested that the Heartbreak Kid said some derogatory things about Johnson's grandma, too. So, Screen Rant claimed that The Rock has pretty much refused to work with him since. That's one way to take a stand. Mind you, Johnson's rumored feuds aren't just restricted to the wrestling business. W reported that he might be engaged in a social media spat with DJ Khaled. Back in 2015, the music star sat down to talk on the Breakfast Club radio show. During their chat, Khaled made some shocking statements about his sex life, which eventually went viral in 2018. From there, Johnson felt the need to respond via Twitter. He wrote, "Ahem. As a man, I take great pride in mastering all performances. This is probably a little TMI. Maybe it was, but the tweet still earned close to 100,000 likes. Yet it could be argued that two of Johnson's most high-profile feuds have been a little closer to home. Of course, we're referring to his apparent issues with both Vin Diesel and Tyrese Gibson. While the trio have played significant roles in the success of the Fast and Furious franchise, it's been rumored that all wasn't well behind the scenes. Let's start with Gibson first. After the 9th film in the series was delayed, he posted an extraordinary rant about Johnson via Instagram in the fall of 2017. The actor wrote, "Congratulations to The Rock for making the Fast and the Furious franchise about you, and like you, DJ, even if they call, I will not be deleting this post." As per W, the film had been pushed back because Johnson's Hobbs and Shaw took its spot. But how did The Rock react? Quite calmly, it has to be said. At the same time though, he appeared to rule out a reconciliation during an interview on Watch What Happens Live in July 2018. "We haven't talked at all," Johnson admitted. "That whole thing with Tyrese was pretty disappointing. A beef requires two people to actually jump in it, and it was really one-sided." And he had voiced his opinion a lot on social media. "But no, we haven't talked. I don't see where we would. To me, there's no need to have a conversation." As for Diesel, his alleged issue with Johnson can be traced back to an Instagram post from August 2016. At that time, The Rock labeled one of his Fast and Furious castmates as a candy ass but didn't give out their name. The social media message didn't end there, though. Johnson revealed, "When you watch this movie next April and it seems like I'm not acting in some of these scenes and my blood is legit boiling, you're right." While he eventually binned the post, W reported that all fingers seemed to point to Diesel. Yikes. But the latter then brushed off the claims in April 2017. Johnson, though, he only fanned the flames further during his appearance on Watch What Happens Live in 2018. The actor pled the fifth after being asked if he'd work with Diesel again. So it'll be interesting to see whether any of these guys make an appearance at the Jungle Cruise premiere in 2021.